All right, welcome to the COG Arcade, Episode 8 on April 9th of 2013. And we're here to talk about games and all kinds of fun stuff this week. It's been a little bit, just a little bit to catch up on. I figured we'd just jump in and start talking about some of the new games that come out. Defiance came out, which is some game...
I want to hear more about that. I'm really curious about that.
We actually have Daniel's reviewing it. Unfortunately, it's been hit by server troubles.
That's what I understand.
And I've been getting emails from the development/PR team saying they're working on it and they're trying to make it better. And I had to laugh because one of the things they said was, by having this happen, we are focusing on making it a better experience. Well, duh. Shouldn't you launch your game with the servers ready to go?
It seems now, is that going to become a regular issue for, we're obviously going to get into the always online, debate, that sort of thing, and that, any game that ties into its own server, are we going to deal with that every time there's a new game that comes out, right?
I think eventually that somebody will just learn how to do it properly and
how to do it right. Yeah.
Well, I want to know if we're also going to get because the game's based on an actual series
on a TV series.
Yeah, it starts April 15th.
It's on Showcase.
Are we getting it here?
It's on Showcase.
It's on
in
Showcase.
Canada. Yeah, it's on Showcase in Canada, so we do get it.
So I'd be interesting to see how that ties in, and I'm surprised Jen's not, trying this game out. She's into these online MMO-ish.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about it. This is the thing. I didn't know it was a TV show or...
I didn't know much about it until this past week myself. I hadn't heard any hype or anything. I hadn't seen anything on any websites really that was pushing it, saying, "Hey, check this out."
Which kind of scares me.
Kind of came out of nowhere.
That kind of scares me. But Daniel's reviewing it, aka the Juggernaut, and
I look forward to his review for sure.
He should be having
from Brampton,
the next day or so.
No,
he's out here.
He's a local guy from Langley out here.
We're taking over the world.
I thought never mind. For some reason, I'm confusing him with like Pimp Gangsta Poet or something like that.
Yeah, that's...
I don't know why, but oh wow, that was just a random thought. But
Daniel works at a brick and mortar video game store that Sean and I frequent. So
is that Willow?
Yeah. We're like the Jay and Silent Bob of Willow Video.
We are. You need to love us. Love us
very
where we
nice.
are, how you want us to be.
I'm like the guy who talks a lot, Jason Mewes' character, except I'm much better looking. That's personal opinion, of course.
I don't think it's very hard, like, no offense against the guy to get that much better looking.
That guy, I remember seeing him in another movie where, I know that he went through some issues over the years, and he just looked ratty, but apparently he's got himself cleaned up, so good for him.
Him and Game Related, they were doing the Injustice kind of like battle arena, and
Mr. Kevin Smith.
Him and
posted a
Jason
video this morning of him.
They were doing a little video on it of like who they think they would win, and they're talking about Batman versus Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman would win. She just jumped out from the sky, land on Batman, and break his back, and be like, "You're done." Like, no. You're thinking real logic. You got to think comic book logic.
Comic book logic is so different than real world logic. Come on now.
Because it's so real. So hopefully Defiance meets some expectations, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's not going to.
I have a feeling it's just going to fall under the radar.
We'll see it in Walmart and a couple.
Well, there's four of us here chatting right now, and we're pretty heavily entrenched in the world of gaming, and none of us know hardly anything about it. So what does that really say, right? So for the average gamer who might go and pick up a game, they have no idea what this thing is.
I think they're hoping people will start watching the TV show going, "There's a game?"
Yeah, they're looking for the tie-in.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to tune into the TV show just to see what it's like. Yeah. And, I'm dying for a good science fiction show. Every time I see Defiance, I think of the Defiant from Deep Space Nine.
I find it, too, though. It's a good question whether or not it'll really succeed. Maybe having the tie-in, so you have two things that tie in together, will kind of bring both of them up. But as a whole, a lot of good sci-fi shows over the years have really not made it. Look at Firefly. That's ridiculous.
That wasn't recent, though. That wasn't a long time ago.
Well, still, though, but what's coming...
Years.
Look at Enterprise.
Recently, that's there was that Earth 2 or something, it bombed. There was...
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who might be one of the only ones that still goes,
I was watching Doctor Who right before we started recording. So.
I don't get Doctor Who.
Because it's for smart people.
Do you have Netflix right now?
That would explain everything.
Hey!
Jen, Doctor Who's on Netflix, the first 6 seasons. of the new incarnation, and they have a lot of the old stuff as well.
I shouldn't say that. I saw one episode, and it was those angel statue things.
If you're starting in the middle, it might be tough to kind of catch on. It's probably a good idea to start from the beginning on that one. There's a lot to it.
I was going to say, you could skip even season 1 if you wanted to.
Red Dwarf.
Another British show that I don't get.
Oh, Jen,
a lot of people don't
I
get great
out
humor.
there and give you some edumacation.
Start with Faulty Towers and Blackadder.
Faulty Towers is a must. We own it on DVD.
Blackadder is so good.
We're trying to help you broaden your horizons, Genevieve.
This is why we're so great. We start talking about Defiance and we end up on Faulty Towers.
Blackadder, yeah, I'm kidding.
All right, who picked up Battle Block Theater?
I didn't.
Somebody's reviewing it, and it isn't me or Sean, and I don't.
And I've done it yet, so but.
I.
What are your initial impressions?
It's a great game,
Uh-oh,
but it's not grasping me like Castle Crashers did. But I really appreciate the behemoth juvenile sense of humor, filled with poop jokes and lots of laughs. And it's just it's a platformer, but it's creatively, it's very cleverly done. I think there's like 9 different levels, and I think there's I forget how many, 8 different levels within those chapters. And
yeah, they're saying there's over 100 separate sort of.
There's so much content there. There's different head faces you can collect. I think there's over 200-300.
It's pretty crazy too. I was watching some videos of it online, and that announcer could get pretty crazy. There was a secret achievement I saw. A friend of mine videotaped himself getting it, and he videotaped it not because of the achievement, but because of the announcer who started singing. So there seems to be the behemoth humor there.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely the star of the game for sure. He even just the intro, I laughed my ass off.
So without ruining your review,
Aww.
Is it a good game?
Yes.
I've heard some good things myself, but I haven't really seen much of it.
But
maybe
because I played in the beta, but it's starting to grow a bit tiresome because
Well, that's Castle Crashers though. I can come back to it, but I won't play it all the time.
Yeah.
It's a great game if your friend comes over and it's kind of like, yeah, let's play it. And
no, it's strictly a console game, home console game, right?
It's strictly console.
Now, could you envision something like this on the Vita or the 3DS?
No, I don't believe so. Just because of I think of the multiplayer content. I think of the couch co-op. There's a very rich level editor as well. I don't know if I can picture it on a handheld. I don't believe so. I don't think so. That's my thoughts. But it's a great game. Just as I said, it just hasn't grasped me much like Castle Crashers did. But there's a lot of content there for, what is it, I think $15. There's a lot. And then that level editor really, creating your own levels, playing user-created levels, it's endless as to what you can do with that game. So I would say I want to say it's a must-buy, but if you've got 1,400 points or 1,600 points, yeah, go for it. I got to turn Vita off.
What are you playing?
Guacamelee.
Is it good?
Honestly,
yeah,
I'm not.
Straight. Hello.
No, I just turned it on real quick before I wanted to download it because it came out today. And if you have PlayStation Plus, it's only $12.
It's like $12. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great deal.
Yeah, and it's crossplay too, so.
Crossplay, and you're supporting a Canadian developer.
Yes.
So win-win.
Well then, is it pronounced Guacamelee or Guacamelee?
I would assume Melee.
I thought it was Melee. So
it's kind of closer to Guacamole too when you think about it, because that's kind of what they're playing on, obviously.
I know. I've heard a little bit about it. Kind of like Metroid, with set in a magical Mexican world.
It definitely has that Metroidvania. I'm maybe 5 minutes in, but immediately I was struck at how nice the graphics look on the handheld. Very colorful. You think of Mexico and some of those bright, festive colors.
Do we have anybody reviewing it, Kirby? Are we going to see something on the front end soon?
Paul's reviewing it, but I think he's reviewing it on the PS3 strictly because I don't think he has a Vita.
I've only seen some screenshots, but from what I've heard of the gameplay, a little bit of, like you said, Metroid / Castlevania style, and it looks really sharp. So, I'm definitely interested in picking it up, and for $12, it's tough to say no. And like you said too, you're supporting, for us here, we're supporting a Canadian developer, which is always a good thing too.
And I've been seeing tweets and such, and reviewers seem to be, the reviews have been pretty favorable.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
isn't it some of the stuff that I've seen too? They're saying it's pretty funny as well. Like there's a lot of humor in it. Or
I can see that, yeah.
I can imagine
the
from the
brief
trailer.
time period that I played it, yeah, I can.
yeah.
see
Well, it's a
there is-
luchador. I mean, it's a guy in a wrestling mask. I mean, that's funny itself. So
It's-
I'm sure it's good.
It is reviewing well right now. It's Metacriticing at 88 based on
Nice.
14 reviews.
Yeah.
Yay,
that's a
Drinkbox
pretty solid
Studios.
review.
Now, you guys, I don't know if you've played their previous. They've done a couple of games, but notably Mutant Blobs Attack. So if you like Mutant Blobs Attack, if you like their work from that, definitely pick this one up.
It's a great game. It was one of the first. That was on Vita, right?
That's on the Vita.
Yeah, it's one of the first games I bought. I just wanted to make sure I was imagining the right game.
I never even heard of it, so I'm out of the loop on that one.
Do you have a Vita, Sean?
I do. I picked it up recently, probably about 2 months ago.
That's a must-buy game, and I think
Oh,
It's a
Sean
must-buy?
too. It's a must-buy.
I think at regular price it was $8 now. I don't know if there was any kind of PlayStation Plus benefit, like discount or anything like that, but definitely a must-own if you have a Vita.
Well, I'm always looking for stuff to play on that. I mean, I have long splits at work of like 4 hours in between shifts, so I definitely get my time in on the Vita these days.
Very nice.
Yes.
And not nice all at the same time.
Yeah, and not nice. It's just part of the job. It is what it is. I tough it through.
All right. Anybody try out any of the new Halo 4 maps yet?
Oh, I can't say that I have. I don't ever really put a lot of time into Halo. Does that make me a bad gamer?
Well, to be honest with you, I put a lot more multiplayer time in the Halo Reach. There's more people wanting to go play it. Now you try to get a Halo 4 game, it's kind of, no, let's go play something else. I can't. Well, right now I'm having a tough time getting people to play Borderlands 2 as well. That's the game I really, really want to play right now. But Halo 4, I mean, there's new maps that I can't find anybody on my friends list, at least, to play with. I'm sure I can hop online and go play, but there's a lot more fun to play with friends.
You know what you're subjecting yourself to when you go to a public Xbox Live game.
I usually take my headset off. I don't even bother.
You have to mute it.
So, our last cast, we never really spoke much of it. Well, you two weren't on with us, but Borderlands Infinite came out that day.
Oh my god.
Duh! Don't spoil it for me. I'm been in review, so I haven't finished it.
I'm probably about a half hour away or so from beating the game, and everything up until this point has been fantastic. I mean, some people had said, I'd seen some reviews saying, though, it's more of just the same, but I mean, it's a formula that worked the first time, and I mean, they just improved upon it as far as I'm concerned this time around. That game is awesome.
Well, the first BioShock was, it's probably one of my, I think I mentioned this last podcast, but it's one of my top 10 games for this generation.
Without a doubt.
So, and this is, I mean, I might be, I want to say, well, my Raptor playtime said I have like 8 hours into the game, so.
You have 8 hours into Infinite?
5 into Infinite, yeah. So.
Wait a minute, you've been playing Infinite?
Oh,
last week.
Busted!
Last week before I got the review, thank you.
Look, little Miss Queen of Sodas here. That's your new name, Queen of Sodas.
Should you make that your gamer tag?
Queen of Soda.
Or Soda Queen.
Soda Queen, there we go. I like that one. That's got a nice ring to it.
And we were like, who's this Soda Queen? I used to know a Genevieve. I will be guilty. I have yet to touch BioShock Infinite, but
You better not be playing Borderlands 2 instead of BioShock Infinite.
maybe.
Kirby,
I'm trying to get.
I think we need an intervention here.
I got 5 more golden keys, and I'm starting to play the campaign on Ultimate Vault Hunter.
Oh, did you go to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode?
Yeah.
Holy Moses.
I still need to get level 50 to go to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode and beat that big baddie beast.
On the Ultimate? Well, we should just get a group of me and Cross and maybe Jerv and get you that boss.
Yeah, well, I am off all nights now, and I have all weekends off. It's good to be me when it comes to work right now.
Oh,
but yeah,
jealous.
I come up with a new kind of format for our podcast a little bit. I wanted to section it out a little bit more. As you guys probably noticed, we didn't go, hey, what have we been gaming? Because usually when we start talking about games, we end up talking about what we've been gaming anyways and repeat ourselves. So I came up with kind of like a new section called the Arcade Roundtable. We're talking about some stuff that's a little bit more controversial or that people are like on two sides of the fence about when it comes to the gaming industry. And when we were talking beforehand, Kirby came up with a great one about PlayStation 4 is announced. Nothing's being heard about the next Xbox.
Ooh, my soapbox time. Soapbox
time. Nothing's being said. All these rumors are swirling, and it leads into some other stuff that we can talk about. It's kind of all grouped together, but as Kirby put it, is Microsoft shitting the bed by delaying their announcement?
I like that title. That's why I'm going to put it on the front page and a big pile of poop on a bed. Because Jen brought up poop with game, so I can say poop.
Before
people would get that. You don't need to put the cuss word on the site. Just put a giant steamer
not a cuss
on
word.
Top of a.
We can do a whole podcast on the validity of.
Call it the poop cast.
Oh my gosh,
Sean.
But I do think Microsoft is missing a huge opportunity here, and I was thinking about this all day on how to kind of word it, but. Bottom line is, since the PlayStation 4 was announced in February, and we talked about how, we didn't see the box, we've got specs, we saw some game ideas, we saw a few real-time demos, but since that time, the amount of hype that's been generated for the PlayStation 4 has been immense. Developers have come out and are singing its praises, and that's totally separate of what was happening with the PS3. The PS3 was a bugger to program for, and that's why the Xbox 360 became kind of the platform of choice because of the ability to program for it. And, it was adamantly noted how hard the cell processor was to program for. Now Sony comes out with the PS4 announcements, and developers are starting to flock to it saying how easy it's to develop for, how good it is that it's the AMD architecture, how good the fact is that they actually came to developers and they asked the developers, what do you want? And Microsoft's sitting in the wings right now going, well, what are we going to do? There's rumors of an April event. Now they're saying the rumors are it's been pushed to May. Why not just leave it till E3 then? Why bother having an event before E3?
To say, I don't know, to say that they're shitting the bed, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, developers might not be coming out and saying anything about how great it is to program for the 720 or whatever it is they're going to call it because they're not allowed to yet. I mean, I'm sure the developers have an idea of what's coming their way at this point. And if the announcement or if what they have coming is good enough, it doesn't matter how big the gap is. I don't think they're really losing any footing. I mean, that's just my opinion on that, though. I don't think it's an issue.
Well, you look at all the negative press with the dreaded online always rumors that are going on out there.
Can I just throw in a boo-hoo? Like, seriously?
Well, you know what? I understand the boo-hoo, but there are communities that don't have access to internet that's going to be that stable.
Then move to somewhere that matters.
That's not right. You can't. But
I get
for
that.
Microsoft to sit back and remain silent on this, the negative press that's being generated in forums, on blogs.
They're not being silent. They've got one of their employees making nasty tweets.
I totally missed out on that this weekend. I missed out on a lot of gaming news, but I saw blurbs about that. What exactly happened?
You know what? This fella just tweeted. It was basically like his personal Twitter account, and he put some tweets on that basically kind of put it in perspective for people. He goes, sometimes my power goes out, so I'm not going to buy a vacuum. Or the cell phone reception's pretty shitty in my basement suite, so I'm not going to buy a smartphone. Basically saying that, the complainers who go, my internet went out, so I can't play it.
Where some of the thing came up, though, is he's a Microsoft employee who programs for Microsoft and Xbox. And he said, I can't see what the big deal is here. Why are people complaining about
deal with it.
Always being online? And people are taking that as almost an off-the-cuff, what's the word I'm looking for? Confirmation that it is going to be online always. Because you have a Microsoft employee saying, what's the big deal? So people are running with that.
I was talking about Steam with some guys on the community and how Steam in a way is always connected from what I understood from it is that when you log in to your computer and you boot up Steam, that you initially kind of have to log online to access your games.
Mm-hmm. That's my understanding. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah. If you Steam, I don't. I'm not a PC gamer.
But if you install a game from your own disc and you have it go through Steam.
But didn't they say no? Because Cross, we haven't had an episode of Straight Up in a while, but Cross being Straight Up, so the people know who he is when we're talking about him. He said, no, you can play the games offline. You don't have to be always connected. Mm-hmm. And I think Devin came on and kind of confirmed that.
Yeah.
So, when I say shitting the bed, I mean, like, there's so much hype for the PS4 right now. And, people are going to hear, when they hear developers, sure, and I understand the point that, developers can't talk about it because it's not out there. Well, yeah, but people are saying, wow, listen to all these developers talking about the PS4. Right. Epic did their real-time demo of the next Unreal Engine on the PS4, and it looks freaking amazing.
But do you not think, obviously Microsoft has something that they're playing close to home too. Whenever it is that they come out with an announcement, they're definitely going to have something that we're going to be sitting back watching it and go, holy shit, did you just see that?
They're going
to have that moment.
Devil's advocate, they don't have something that's going to make you go like that right now. And they're like, holy shit, we need to retool.
Do you think
we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know, but it's long been known that this is the year of next gen. So it's something they've been preparing for a long time for. So for them to come empty-handed,
okay, so you guys tell me, why are they waiting so long?
Unlikely.
Because they want to just ramp it up right before E3, have people talking about it, maybe.
Maybe this is exactly the conversation they want, because now, sure, PS4 is generating hype, but what are we generating for Xbox? Anticipation. Mm-hmm. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. That's exactly what they're getting.
I have friends who are going, well, I'm getting a PlayStation 4. They're just so worried about this always connected issue.
If there's an event, I think, a couple weeks before E3, no?
Well, that's what they're saying.
The supposed announcement.
May 21st, they're saying.
Yeah.
Why not get people all hyped up a couple weeks before and then really blow their minds?
And then the big reveal or something at E3. That's all timing, right?
May 21st will be a trailer.
This is what I'm thinking.
I'm assuming that whatever they've got in the wings is good enough that they're not worried about Sony getting this, quote unquote foothold in it. And as it stands now, you don't really get, you've got the people that I play PlayStation, I play Xbox, and then you've got the hardcore nerds who have both or everything. You know what I mean? So it's not going to sway a lot of people one way or the other.
This generation of hardware, by the looks of it, there's going to be very little differentiating in terms of hardware.
Yeah.
They're both going with the AMD. They're both we know PlayStation what they've gone with, but Xbox is being rumored to go with the Jaguar chipset, all-in-one chip, graphics and CPU. So
what's going to win them hands down is their online experience and their exclusives. Exclusives, you can go either way, but online experience, we all know that Xbox hands down.
Exclusives, Sony's got the more studios doing the more exclusives that, like, the Sony diehards love. Yeah. What do you have for Microsoft exclusives? I can rattle off Halo, I can rattle off Forza, I can rattle off Gears.
And they have that new studio that's making new IP that we don't know anything about in Vancouver.
Well, it's the Black Tusk that's in Vancouver.
In Vancouver, yeah.
You know what I mean? They have their Kinect. We don't even know what's going on with the Kinect. And I hate to say it, I think the Kinect hasn't been as successful as I would have liked to have seen. A lot of the games suck. I hate to say that. And there's been a few but where the Kinect has been successful is out of the gaming industry.
Isn't it amazing how much success it's had outside of gaming? Like, there's all sorts of other fields, like medical field and stuff like that, trying to use the Kinect technology in very different ways from what it was first intended. So I
took my son to the Royal Ontario Museum to see the dinosaur bones. They had an exhibit there. And we were walking by these big screens, and it had like pictures of the wildlife and everything, and there's Kinect sensors on top of each of the screens that would change your point of view based on your height. Just a simple thing like that. And so when my son was walking in front of it, it would look different. It would scale down to what he could see at his kind of eye level.
So did you walk past it standing up and then go, okay, I'm going to do it again, and then like shuffle by on your knees?
No.
I would have done that.
But like I'm like, oh look, there's Kinects. And I'm like,
or I would have done like the pretending to go down a staircase where you start at full height and start and lower yourself as you walk.
So yeah, I totally hear what you're saying about it, but I just don't know. I personally, I think that, you're building up anticipation, but you're also you're giving a lot of headway PR-wise to Sony.
It might be a bit of a missed opportunity. I agree PR-wise, but I think once they're both there on the table,
Sorry.
Did I miss something?
What do you miss? What are we missing?
No. On the Twitter feed, I said we're recording. It's a very, very important interruption. Who can eat more chicken wings? Trevor, Kirby, or Shad? Go.
Jesus.
I don't know. I love my wings, and they've got to be bone in. I'm team bone in, but
You know, I could go so many places with that, and I'm just not gonna. Go team bone in.
we're integrated, not always. Shad, I don't think he's a chicken eater. He's that's a good
I have no idea who posted it. It's somebody who has access to our Twitter account for Game Canadian who asked the question.
It's probably Devin, that dick.
That was Sean with it.
He knows I love him.
That's why I was laughing. I saw that pop up, and I'm like, oh.
It came up and gave you a reach around.
Well,
I think to keep this PG rated.
I probably eat more wings than you guys.
That's right.
Jen, why does everybody gotta think it's like something bad? Help me here, Soda Queen.
Soda?
Uh-oh.
Awkward silence.
Sorry, just give me a second.
She's drinking soda. Leave her be. But I had wings the other night. I ate 4 pounds. Can you guys top that?
4 pounds of wings? What's wrong with you?
How many pounds of wings can you eat?
4?
In a sitting?
That's not very much.
Where do you put it? 4 pounds is a lot. Are you kidding
No,
me?
it's not. That's like maybe 40 wings.
Yeah.
For one person?
I'm not saying I do that, but when you think
I think you are.
When it's a competition, you're saying how many wings can you eat? I can eat more.
Oh, I mean, if I was
I
forced
could
to.
eat more than that,
If
yeah.
I was forced to, sure. So we lay this down.
I could
We're gonna
probably eat double that.
do a West Coast. We can do a West Coast chicken wing eating contest.
I'm up for that.
I'm in.
All right, Kirby. You and I have the quarterfinals when you come down. And
I'll have to miss the
Why am I getting counted out of this? You never know. I might be a contender here.
True.
How many
no.
wings did you eat?
Like 2.
She's like 3 and I'm just full.
You don't know.
I picture her doing the nice little dabbing with the wet nut.
Yeah, right.
The lemon wedge or the lemon napkins.
She's like, I'm gonna kick your ass when I see you.
That's right. You better watch out. You're digging yourself a hole there, Kirby.
But back to the topic at hand.
What are we talking about again?
We're talking about
E3 pooping beds. Or Microsoft pooping the bed.
Beds and Mother the Bones Internet.
So yeah, I know. I'm not saying that they're going to fail, but I mean, again, before John rudely interrupted us with laughter, the PR wise, Sony's just taking the limelight and loving every minute of it.
I agree, but I think once you get both consoles out there, regardless of whatever the PR is, it's the consoles will stand on their own regardless of who's got the the head start talking about
Here's
it.
my next question. What do you want to see out of the next generation Xbox controller? Go.
Oh man, I don't want them to fart with it too much, to be honest. I like the shape. It fits comfortably in my big meat hooks of hands. So I mean, I don't know, like the touchscreen aspect that they threw in with the PS4 controller. I mean, that might be interesting to play around with, but I don't want them to do anything drastic. We don't need another Wii U, mega controller gamepad or anything.
Well, the rumor is, and I love rumors because you read forums and whatnot, but the rumor is it's the same controller, but it's a bit smaller.
A little bit smaller, so not incorporating a lot of new technology.
No.
Look at what they did from the original Xbox controller,
The
the 360 controller, and all the little tweaks that they
I
made
had the Xbox controller S. I love that controller.
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, and and it's always been minor improvements. I mean, you've never really heard very many people complain about the Xbox controller as it stands now. I mean, it's comfortable, it's easy to play with, you don't get the same sort of index finger pain when you're trying to use the triggers or whatnot like you do on the PS3 controller. So, I mean, why mess with a good thing, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
I just bought a new controller specifically because it had the popping D-pad just so I can play on Justice.
Did you buy the Tomb Raider controller?
Damn Skippy.
I got one too.
Yeah, it's a nice controller.
Oh, you bought the one with the pop out specifically for Injustice though?
Yeah.
So you use the D-pad when it comes to fighting games.
Yes.
See, I can't crack myself of the habit of using the analog stick because I've noticed you online playing the Injustice demo and I've been doing it too. I am really hyped for that game. It's like my inner nerd is squealing in delight.
I'm going to admit something, but my 6-year-old son on the regular basis kicks my ass at that game.
Oh, my 15-year-old could do it too.
He's like a friggin' fighting savant or something. I'm like, how'd you do that? And like, I don't know if he's just button mashing and getting really lucky.
Come on, let's get
Or,
ready.
or if he's just figuring out stuff so much easier than I can.
Yeah, I played, way back, WWE All-Stars there with my son, and he started whipping my ass, and I got to the, like, controller throwing stage, and I'm like, I don't know how you're doing this, all you're doing is pushing buttons, and he likes to remind me of my rage quit. My one and only ever rage quit. So it doesn't surprise you that kids, for whatever reason, man, they latch onto these things, and they like shoving it in our face that they're better than us.
Yeah.
You, Jen? Uh-oh.
What about Injustice?
No. You're so pretty.
We're all over.
The Xbox controller.
I hope there's not too many changes to it. Like you guys, I've lived with this for 5-6 years now. 7.
Yeah.
And I'm very comfortable with it.
My question for you, Jen, I know you play a wide array of games, but what's your genre that you play a lot of?
Goodness, it used to be shooters. I would still say, first and third person shooters. So
getting out aggression in forms you can in real life.
She's got a lot of anger.
We all do. We all do. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but like for me, for work, I drive a bus here in Vancouver. So
get on the bus.
You're dealing with some of the best, but a lot of the worst in society. So for me to get my anger out, it's definitely gaming, because I'm all allowed to take it out on my customers. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I work in customer service as well, and there's tough days and there's good days and there's great customers. I know it's a lot different than the bus. I know bus drivers go through a lot of crap that they shouldn't go through. The first thing I learned when I started this job was to let pretty much everything roll off your back. You don't let a lot bother you. So, like I say, any anger that I do have, it goes out on my video game machine. We're talking about next generation. We talked about the controllers. And we're talking about what Sony's doing. One interesting that I find and kind of excited about that Sony's doing is they're really making it really, really open for the indie developers. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's good. I mean, you got to foster, look at a lot of the big AAA titles and stuff, where those guys start, right? They started making indie games. You've got to foster that if you want to see good things in the future. You got to, let them know that you're going to help them kind of get their stuff out there and fine-tune their craft, so to speak.
Kirby?
You guys are going to hate me. I've never been an indie game fan. Just because I just never have had the time to go and play them.
But just because you don't play them, you can still see, though, No,
indie games suck.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
His email address is Kirby.
Yeah, anybody, feel free to write. Let me know how you feel.
But back on topic. Troublemakers. Of course Sony's going to support it, because look what Journey did. Journey was an indie game that came out of nowhere that they supported, and it had won all the awards for 2012, 2013 that it did. It broke new ground. It's like been the kind of the genre bending indie game that people talk about.
Well, and there's more to them now too, though. Like look at they also had Unfinished Swan, which got reviewed well, and then anybody who's watched Indie Game the movie, right, where they look at Fez and Super Meat Boy, stuff like that, where these are great experiences put together by people who just love making games. So I think it's just a great thing.
I think Sony saw, because Microsoft really embraced the indie developing world, and they went, oh shit, we need to catch on that too. Yeah. So again, and I come back to my argument, they've come out of the gate first saying, indie developers, look what we're doing. We're going to embrace you like,
but that's just, they're just playing catch up.
At the same time, though, Microsoft is shutting the doors a little bit on the indie developers right now, right? To get an indie game on to Xbox Live Arcade, showcase 6 Summer of Arcade, it's a lot harder for them to do something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, these guys, the indie developers are even at that point, they're responsible for kind of hyping themselves up, right? That's what happened with something like Super Meat Boy or whatever. They hyped themselves up ahead of time and then kind of had that push, so Microsoft backed them a little bit more. But for the average indie game, they kind of get buried really quick too in like or lost in the shuffle of other games.
Steam's really great for that, for showcasing indie games.
Doesn't Steam have a feature that you can vote for indie games to come out on Steam? Like, if I'm
It's
not mistaken,
not-
some of the press releases I've done have kind of alluded to that.
It's called Steam Greenlight, I believe.
Greenlight, that's right.
it.
And it's not just indie games, it's anybody who hasn't been on Steam before.
Oh, okay.
So if you're brand new, let's say you're just a brand new development studio, and you're a bunch of people from all these companies that got shut down recently and you're starting it up. If that studio hasn't had a game before put on Steam, you have to put it through Greenlight and get it voted on to get in. You have to go through Greenlight now, from what I understand.
You have to?
Yes.
That almost seems crazy because, you get one bout of nerd rage and you get a bunch of nerds shut you down, and then that's it.
Hey, we're geeks.
Geek rage, nerd rage, it's all the same.
It is not. Jen, you got to back me up on this one.
What's the difference between a geek and a nerd?
Geeks are cooler.
I have to agree. Geek is the cool term.
See, I like Jen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
that
a friend of mine,
is-
I think a friend of mine said something about calling somebody a nerd indicates that you're obsessive, whereas a geek means that you're just into, all
Definitely
things
would
awesome.
rather be called a geek over a nerd, but a nerd over a spaz.
I call her Look, I did just to piss Jen off, I call her a geekette. Femalize it.
As long as it's not gamer girl.
I'm still gonna make her a shirt for E3 since I'm a gamer girl.
I bought my wife speaking up for whatever reason, I don't know why I think about gamer girl, but it was that t-shirt that had it's like the video game controller that actually sits over her boobs.
Yeah.
I remember asking her, I'm like, can I buy you this? And she's like, yes, but you're only allowed to touch it when no one else is around. I'm like, all right, fine, deal's a deal.
You guys ever hear about the one shirt I got from Jinx a couple years ago, and it's so bad?
That is good. Let's go.
It's a big X, like the blue X button on the Xbox, the controller, and it says press and hold X to pick up.
Yeah!
You're still wearing that at E3.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I never really had the guts to wear it out to events because I don't want anybody to find X.
You would get a lot of attention. A lot of attention.
I want to videotape the responses.
You can't get that shirt anymore, so.
That's awesome. That's a great shirt. You know what? Forget it. I'll up that. I'll wear that shirt. You can film me.
I'll bring it. You can wear that shirt.
Better yet, do it on a pair of shorts.
Yeah, I'll put it on a pair of shorts. There we go. I'll get kicked out of the convention. I won't even get in the doors.
If you're curious what the difference between a geek and a nerd is, a geek is actually someone with a specific niche interest or lifestyle that they have become an expert on, while a nerd has extreme interest or fascination with academics. So a geek is somebody who's into gaming or D&D or board games, where a nerd is just really, really amazing at physics or into biology and things like that. So that's how they define the difference. I'm sorry for boring you.
I'm sitting here, I'm going to go so ADHD. People who obviously know we record on Skype and we have pictures of ourselves. And I'm looking at Jen's picture the way she's looking at the computer when she took it. And I feel like she's looking at me going, she's got that motherly look. She's
it looks to me like
she's judging you. But what makes it all the most better is you've got the Pokemon cap on. So it totally takes away from the stern look.
Any authority whatsoever.
I don't do duck lips, so that's my...
Oh, duck lips is
you know
so
what?
stupid.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, and that we're having a conversation now with a lady. What the hell? Why do women and girls everywhere seem to think that duck face is an attractive thing to do? You look ridiculous. Please, Jen, fill us in. Why do girls like duck face?
I don't get it either, and I don't get why they feel the need to sit in their bathroom and do that.
Oh, there's nothing like a selfie taken on the shitter. or in the bathroom.
It's yeah, I just wet my ass
But
cream.
the thing
Take a picture of my duck face.
It's not just when I say us, it's not just females who are doing it. It's men too. It's not just.
Oh God!
This is a whole topic we could go off on. You got him with the shirt off and the backwards hat and.
What? I take pictures like that all the time.
He does.
He does. It's true story.
West Coast love.
Do you duck lips though?
I throw up gang signs too.
Oh shit.
I thought this was supposed to be a podcast about gaming. Are we talking about gaming?
We are. Let's talk about the shit that Disney's doing. And I want to, go find Mickey Mouse and shit.
Shutting down of LucasArts.
What? That sucks. I was stoked for 1313. I mean, I know you were too, John. I mean, you're just as much of a Star Wars guy.
It just sucks. It's no longer my most expected game anymore. The game we'll talk about next is my most anticipated
I think it's the issue with LucasArts being shut down the way it is, and Disney said we're going to license stuff out. That screams what THQ did in terms of grabbing licenses. You know what I mean? Licensed games don't always work.
99% of the time they don't.
Than not don't work.
Yeah.
Let's just think the James Bond 007 Legends, Activision, that did not work, and that was a licensed game, the most recent I played, but I don't want to see them whoring out Star Wars by licensing it to the highest bidder. Well, the thing was, like, who's going to do 1313, right? Like, who's actually going to take on? That game looked amazing at E3 last year. I got to admit, it was our first appointment of day 3. I was tired. I hadn't had my coffee. I was having troubles focusing. I'm not going to deny it. I didn't walk out as wowed as some people. But all the Star Wars geeks, not nerds, geeks loved it. And then I saw the stuff later, and I'm like, but who's going to take that over? Like, who's going to take all these Star Wars projects? Battlefront is another one. They were talking about Battlefront 3 was in the wings and being worked on. And I don't know. Seeing how Disney's put out crap titles themselves and licensed crap titles, I have concerns on what's going to happen with the Star Wars gaming license.
Well, Disney put out Pure, and that game was awesome, so maybe.
I like Split Second a lot as well.
There you go, Split Second. Yeah, that was I didn't get too much time in that, but that was a fun game.
I preferred the My Little Princesses game that was on there. That was awesome. By the way, Trevor,
how much of it as a result of LucasArts shutting down is LucasArts' fault from crappy management?
It's not. I don't think it's LucasArts' fault.
It's all money, man. It's all money.
They sold. LucasArts sold everything to Disney, and this is a business decision. At the end of the day, they have shareholders to respond to, and
like Disney doesn't make enough money. Come on, shareholders.
No, but what I mean is that look at Star Wars Force Unleashed. The first one was a decent game, right? And there's Force Unleashed 2, was okay, but not so okay. But those games were just okay. And I'm not sure how much money they made, but what other Star Wars games of recent times, like there was the Kinect one, and it was a complete bomb.
Flop. Well, I think the biggest thing people are forgetting, and I'm sure we don't, but because we want to talk about it, but LucasArts isn't just about Star Wars games. We know that. So they did a lot of different games before the Star Wars games, and then Star Wars became their focus. And, when that happened, I think things changed. Because LucasArts was in charge of Star Wars games. So by not branching out and doing what the games that they did before...
Shot themselves in the foot a little bit.
I think so.
When I was listening to the OMG Hour earlier this week, the one thing that they said is, why haven't they released all their games, their catalog, like on Steam, or re-release some stuff on XBLA or PSN, stuff like that? Because they could probably bring in a lot of capital in by doing what everybody else is doing and selling their old stuff because people want it.
That's a good point. But it's a matter of that again was a business decision, right? Was it going to sell?
Yeah, is it going to bring in money into the?
If they release Rogue Squadron, I buy it in an instant.
Yeah, I mean, but you're one of how many? Do you think that their back catalog would sell all that well?
Well, LucasArts has done a lot of other stuff. What's that other game? I'm trying to remember the game that they did.
We're looking right now, actually, at some.
You guys are looking at the list.
Yeah, I thought so. Secret of Monkey Island.
Yes, that's it.
Didn't they release that? Didn't they do an upgrade to that on the arcade? I want to say yes.
Yeah, they did.
And they were responsible. LucasArts was responsible for Grim Fandango. I loved that game.
So you know what I mean? They went and did some titles, Maniac Mansion, like titles that people really don't. There's some people who don't remember them. In our generation of gamers, when I say our generation, the generation currently now that are gaming, could be from 6 years old to 45 years old. A lot of the younger generation don't know these games that they did. They only think LucasArts is Star Wars.
It's Star Wars, yeah.
Like, I got a question, Jen. If you say to Hannah, even though she may not know, say to her, hey, what games does LucasArts make? Or what are they associated with? Would she be just Star Wars?
Probably, recognizing, LucasArts, Lucas.
Lucas and Star Wars.
Probably not, but, kids of this generation, associate Lucas with Star Wars, so.
Like your daughter would probably look at that and go, "Ooh, hey, Mom," but she doesn't know Monkey Island. She doesn't know Maniac Mansion. She doesn't know, all those games. And that's what they have is games that are rich like that, and they went just to Star Wars.
Yeah, but I mean,
wow.
like you said, I don't know if they necessarily, kind of did it to themselves. I agree with you that it's more so it's a business decision done by Disney. It sucks for gamers, but I mean, sometimes it's one of those things where we have to look at it from the outside. Is we're just the guys that play the games. We're not the ones investing the money, and to them, they look at it and go, we're not going to make any money here, and that's their only reasoning. They can make more money by getting somebody else to do the work, and they just pay them for the licensing, right?
It's a much better business solution, It's
sure, but it sucks for the gamer because, like you said, licensed games more often than not aren't worth our time. So, to see a game like 1313 most likely go down the tubes is really disappointing for anybody. I mean, I was super excited for that one. So
speaking of another studio closure, you mentioned briefly about High Moon. They had like 40 employees let go after they finished Deadpool. I think that's a sticky thing for them to do. It's like, hey, great, you finished this game. See ya.
Get out of here.
You know what? That's pretty pervasive in the industry too. I mean, it happens all over the place, and I'm sure that it's kind of like an understood risk by people who work in the field, but it's a shitty risk to have to worry about. Awesome, I just made this great game, and where's my pat on the back? Oh, no, pat on the back. It's a kick out the door, right? And that's pretty unfortunate.
I'm a big fan of the studio. I love both the Transformers games, and
and I'm pretty excited for Deadpool as well.
I'm pretty sure that'll be a great one too. But why wouldn't they just task them?
No, I don't know if Deadpool's going to be as good as it's going to be, because I have a sneaking suspicion it's not being handled by Activision directly anymore. So. Oh,
you mean Activision don't have their hands on it?
They have their hands on it, but I don't know who's doing the PR for it.
I'm just saying that the less Activision actually has to do with it, probably the better the game will be. That's a personal opinion. So
yeah, I don't buy a whole lot of Activision games anymore myself.
You know what really turned me away actually was like, or lazy releases. I get sick of okay, we're going to tweak one thing or two things and we're going to release it every single year without fail and suck everybody into buying the same shit over and over and over and over. It's lazy development, and I don't respect it. I don't know. I'm an angry gamer.
He is. True story.
Angry gamer.
Yeah, I don't give Activision a lot of my money either, though. To be fair.
Why do you gotta be so angry?
Why do I gotta be so angry? You don't know me. You don't live my life.
He's a bus driver. Give him a break.
Yeah, that's right.
You're like a postal worker.
It's one and the same.
It's yeah.
Okay, so we've beaten that dead horse.
All right. They announced, I think it was today or was it yesterday, but Batman Arkham Origins has been announced.
Yay.
And Deathstroke's in it. I'm excited.
Yes.
But what I'm not excited about is that Rocksteady's not making it. It's Warner Brothers Montreal.
And I'm pretty sure I already said at some point during this podcast is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why not go with the guys who know what they're doing? They're the ones who made the franchise great. They're the ones who are going to keep it going. I mean, I could be wrong.
On the flip side, Warner Brothers Montreal didn't they do the Wii version of Batman? So I remember talking to a French guy when I was at the PAX.
Oh, sure. Well, maybe they did
like this, and he goes, "Hey, Canada."
So you're talking about the Wii U Armored Edition or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they did, but they were still working on the basis of what Rocksteady had already done.
Yes, they did. I just checked here. They did Batman Arkham City Armored Edition.
They threw in a couple of different things that were exclusive to the gamepad, sure, but as a whole, all they're doing is taking what Rocksteady did well and said, okay, we can add this because there's the Wii U gamepad and add this, and we'll call it a day, right? So that doesn't really mark them successful as a studio yet. So I'd be
I got a hankering for Poutine.
Ooh, Poutine. Do you guys have I don't know why, again, off on a tangent. You guys have Smoke's Poutineery back east, right?
Not where I live, but
not where you, but
and Jen wouldn't go there.
John, have you partaken?
Yes.
And it's good?
I've had better poutine and cat milk.
Oh, they just opened one here in Vancouver, and I'm a poutine.
It's not bad.
I like.
The one you have to go try is the bacon cheeseburger. It's the best.
I'm already convinced.
Awesome. Of their poutines, that's the best one. I'm not a fan of their gravy, and to me, the gravy really makes a poutine, but they do it really well. They throw a lot of food in there. It's really, really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah, in that respect, you'll enjoy it, but it won't be the best poutine you've ever had.
Awesome. Again, now we're a gaming podcast. Let's talk more about games.
Yeah. How did Batman Arkham Origins fit the poutine?
That's the great thing about this podcast. People listen. We go off on tangents. It's great.
We're so retarded.
But I like the fact that they're doing not only the Batman game, the Origins on the main console.
They're doing handheld specific games
as well.
Yeah.
So that'll
What's
be
it,
interesting
Blackgate?
to see.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, technically they both have the same namesake. I guess they got Blackgate for the handheld. So I mean, are they going to be two completely different
Who is
stories?
Armature Studio though? That they're doing the handheld version.
Never heard of Armature.
Something to look into.
Well, we are looking into it. We have the glory of Wikipedia.
Well,
right here.
Rocksteady is supposedly working on a next-gen title, so probably that's what they're tied up into.
Oh, really? So there you go. Maybe that's why, right? No, sorry, guys, we're busy, and we just laid off 40 people, so...
Rocksteady.
Oh, no, that was High Moon. Make
us look back.
Yeah, I know. Get your facts straight.
Well, I'd rather Rocksteady be working on this next gen thing than
And maybe some new IP, which would be really great.
Yeah.
We're all about new IP, as we've discussed previously. But yeah, there's just I hate this season right now, and this time of limbo. Like, the PlayStation 4 is announced, everybody's waiting for the 360. No games are being announced.
Yeah, but remember, I mean, you know what? I mean, what is it? At the beginning of the year on the community there, on the Game Canadian forums, we put out talking about, is this generation winding down, and da-da-da-da, and we'd spoken about the list of new releases, and we'd only seen up to Tomb Raider. Well, now we've gone past Tomb Raider, and there's still a lot all of a sudden that is coming out. So, I mean, as much as there's hype about next gen, I'm sure we're still going to see some stuff at E3 that's going to be this gen that's going to get some people excited. I don't think we're completely done yet.
Give me my next generation Forza, please.
We can wrap it up
Stay
there.
with us for 5 more minutes.
Please, Mom, please, Mom.
There's only one more thing I really wanted to talk about, and it's not even game related. I just thought it was kind of weird.
What's that?
In other entertainment news, they're making a sequel to Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
They call it Finding Dory. What do you guys think of that?
It's Pixar. It'll be good.
Pixar can do no wrong.
Yeah, but a sequel to Finding Nemo? Finding Dory? Like,
I don't know.
Be any more like
it's the obvious name. I don't know. Pixar, they very rarely fall flat. So I mean, I'm sure it'll be something to gather the kids up and take them to the theater for sure.
I'm sure Disney will license out that game too.
And I'm sure it'll be awful.
All right, well, we'll just wrap it up then, and we'll meet again. But thanks for listening to episode 8. I hope you enjoyed. You can follow all of us on Twitter if you do choose so. For Kirby, it's Kirby_Y. For Jen, at Jen Dingle. And call me Sean P. for good old Sean there, and I'm Johnny Zio.
And I just got a text from Jen. She says, I accidentally hit the red button. So she's saying goodbye to everybody in good old-fashioned text.
Do we go on without her, or do we say goodbye still? But
we just say goodbye.
We just say goodbye for her. By proxy.
By proxy, but yeah, follow Game Canadian, COG Arcade, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, all that jazz. I'll include it in the show notes, and I think that's a wrap.
Alrighty. Shalom.
Bye.